Good afternoon, Evangel. It's a beautiful Wednesday afternoon, and I'm on the front porch here at the house. It's been a long time since I've done a front porch chat, and this is probably the last nice day of the year, it looks like. The leaves are falling, but the temperature is beautiful today. Wind is blowing, and I want to give you a quick book recommendation. Books I recommend, I don't always recommend everything in them. And probably in every resource that I might suggest, there'll be things I might clarify here or there. But this was a book I thought was helpful. It's by Gary Chapman. Gary Chapman is most known for his book, The Five Love Languages. This is a book called Things I Wish I Had Known Before My Child Became a Teenager. Things I Wish I Had Known Before My Child Became a Teenager. A lot of people are in the midst of raising children, all the way from infants, newborns, all the way up through the teenage years. In fact, many in the church have already raised their children and turned them out to adulthood, and now they're involved with grandchildren. But we all know that the teenage years, for one reason or another, can be a difficult time for some. This is an interesting book because in this, Gary Chapman addresses 12 things that he wishes he would have known before his children became a teenager, and trying to help and guide them through those years. Here's a list of the chapters. I wish I'd known that teens are developing the ability to think logically. I wish I'd known that culture greatly influences teens. Boy, that's a big one. The culture today around us, the media, social media, so much is pouring into their lives and has a great effect. One of the things I think that often we might miss with social media in particular is when kids, teenagers see other people's lives on social media, Instagram or TikTok or wherever they might be posting things. It creates this image of a perfect life that creates an envy or desire or this feeling I don't quite measure up. Culture greatly influences teens. I wish I'd known that teens need to feel loved. I wish I'd known that teens are moving towards independence. One of the big changes that takes place when children are young, you have a lot of control over them. In fact, at the very earliest ages, you have all the control. You can pick them up, you can put them where you want them to be. They can't move until you pick them up and move them someplace else. And as they begin to grow, they develop more independence. So when they become teenagers, you have, in a sense, you've lost almost all control and you are left with influence. You can't pick them up and carry them to bed anymore. You are limited in the amount of things you can force them to do at times. And so one of the things you got to work through as they move towards independence is to increase influence and the relationship you have with them. It's an interesting idea. I wish I'd known that teens need to learn social skills. Teenage years can be really awkward for some, but there are ways to teach what some have called the soft skills of life, able to relate to people, to talk to people, things like that. In fact, some have said the soft skills are among the most important skills of life, even better than the hard skills of ability or talents in a job or the ability to code or to work on things. The soft skills are really important. I wish I'd known that teens need to learn how to process anger. Boy, there's another big one. And Chapman in the book distinguishes between two kinds of anger. That anger is always the result of this sense of fairness and justice that we all have. And anger comes when we sense injustice. And sometimes that anger is well placed, that we are angry over right things. And sometimes that anger is misplaced, that we get angry over wrong things. And helping teens to navigate that is an important part. I wish I'd known that teens need to learn how to apologize and forgive. How do we respond when we hurt somebody or when we've been hurt by somebody? That's something that has to be taught. I wish I'd known that teens need guidance. As much as they might want to be independent and do things on their own, they still need influence to guide them. And maintaining that voice of influence and directing them is one of the key things that we can do in their teenage years. I wish I'd known that teens need to learn an attitude of service, serving others, starting around the house and then branching out from there, serving others. I wish I'd known that a teen's emotional health greatly impacts educational success. We look at grades, we look at educational achievements and trying to keep kids getting educated and moving up through the educational system. But emotional health has a huge impact on that. It's an interesting chapter. I wish I'd known that teens need spiritual direction. That's not just the practical things of life, the looking towards a future of an occupation or something like that, but it's spiritual direction. How is their relationship with the Lord? How is their understanding of the gospel? How is their involvement in the church? They need spiritual direction. We can't just leave that up to whoever is going to influence them. We need to be active in that. And then the last one, I wish I had known that a parent's model is more important than their words. I've said often, and you've heard me say this from time to time, it's one of the oddest experiences of life when you hear your voice coming out of your child's mouth and then you correct them for it because they are only doing what they learned from you. Our model as parents is so powerful. The old saying that your walk talks and your talk talks, but your walk talks louder than your talk talks. A little bit of a rhyme of sorts there, but it's so totally true that what we do oftentimes means so much more than what we say. And modeling for our children a life of following Christ, a life of loving the church and being a part of it is so important as we prepare them for life. Now, remember, the goal of raising children is to turn out adults who are well adjusted because they understand Christ. They understand the wisdom of God's word. They understand the gospel, and they're wholeheartedly committed to following Christ. That's the goal we have for them. And I hope that's your goal. That's what we want to do as evangelists. We want to equip parents and partner with parents in leading their children down the road towards Christ-like adulthood. But as we do that, this will be a book, again, Things I Wish I'd Known Before My Child Became a Teenager by Gary Chapman. It's one that's a pretty short read. It's not long, 150 or so pages. The epilogue is page 161 it ends on. It's worth your time, even if you only read a chapter a day, a chapter a week or something. It won't take you a long time to read through it, but give you lots of food for thought as your children go into teenage years and you try to maintain that influence and guide them towards Christ. This will give you some great conversation points with them and perhaps be of some help to you. Anyway, I want to leave that with you, and I hope to see you soon.